Welcome to the Hopeless Stream, fellow travelers. We are back for more Ambush. Today, I'm just going to basically jump right in. And as you may know, or you'll come to know, this is an sort of immersive, narrative, World War II tactical war game where each unit represents a single soldier. And I am playing solitaire against the system. I'm playing as the Americans against the Germans. And this specific mission that I'm playing today is mission number 6 from the base game, mission number 6 out of 8. It is called Pleasure Boating to the West Wall. And the situation is we are in January of 1945. The American soldiers are advancing through France towards Germany. And they have kind of been halted down by the southwestern German border, just outside the German town of Trier. And there is a fortified line called the West Wall. And for days and weeks, they have been bombing along the West Wall. They've been flying bombers in, they've been using artillery fire, but the Germans are pretty well hunkered down there. They have bunkers set up along the line, and it's just impossible to get through, really. So it has been a stalemate for a couple of weeks, and now High Command have decided that something else is required for us to break through this stalemate. So they have equipped a tiny little group of just 8 soldiers to travel by night by canoe down the river that runs along the border, and then try to sneak in behind enemy lines, locate the bunkers, and take them out with whatever means necessary. Now, this, as you can imagine, is a highly dangerous mission. And I would say it's not less dangerous when you consider the people that have been assigned to this mission. So, as you'll see up here in the top left, we have Asher. He is the commander of the mission. He is known to be a really hard-nosed, no bullshit kind of guy. And he also has a reputation for being really unpleasant and punishing people who doesn't follow orders. But he is a very, very hard-nosed guy, and you just know that he is going to just push through whatever it takes. And he's not going to spare himself, but he's not going to spare anyone else either. Now, second in command over here is Burns. And Burns is kind of a more low-down, chill kind of guy. He's been in the war now for a couple of years, and he is finally beginning to sense an end to this. Germany is collapsing, the Americans are advancing, and it seems that maybe in just a few weeks, or at most perhaps a few months, this war could be over. And he's actually started allowing himself again to think about his loved ones back home, that there is actually a chance that he may return to see his parents, his wife, his kid, who was just a little toddler when he left for the war. And for the longest time, he has been not really allowing himself to think of a future with them. But now finally, he's beginning to see it. And as he received the orders that he is to travel in behind enemy lines on this super dangerous and fraught mission, these hopes, they are kind of beginning to fray a little bit at the edges. And he's more nervous now than he has been in a long time, because suddenly, for the first time, he feels that he actually has something to lose. Now, his main comfort is that he'll be going in with Dallas. And Dallas is a sniper that Burns has been working with for a long time, and Dallas has always had Burns' back. So he hopes that he'll continue to do that throughout his mission. And if anything, Dallas will make Burns safe, and Burns is also committed to get Dallas back home safe from this mission. So they're kind of a little of a team within the team. Let's see how that dynamic is going to play out. Now, the worst thing about it is that they have also allowed all these scouts into the mission. And of course, you need scouts because we're in enemy territory, and you need people who kind of know the way a little bit and who can sort of navigate in the dark. Remember, we'll be traveling after nightfall. But the people they called in, like, just listen to their names, right? Freak and Cowboy and Elias. Well, you know, Elias, that's a normal name at least, but that guy Elias, he seems so freaking nervous, right? He cannot even properly hold a gun, and actually he doesn't carry anything but a gun. He just has a pistol. He doesn't even have a rifle. Like, God knows what he does there. I mean, I really, really hope that he has some insights into the landscape here, because otherwise, I don't know. I mean, he's just going to be something that we have to drag along into this mission. And Freak and Cowboy, you know, they're all enthusiastic and looking forward to the mission and to the adventure, but they also seem to not be really realistic about what an actual sort of close encounter combat situation might end up being. And why these rookies were taken on this mission, I mean, no one knows, or perhaps someone does know, and we will find out later, but, you know, Burns, he's not trusting these guys. Then, finally, we have Gina and Hangman. And Gina, she's a demolition expert, and she is here really to blow up bunkers. She's got satchel charges, she's even got a bazooka, and we need to get her close to these bunkers and just blow them up. And, you know, Burns is happy that she's there to do the job, to go all close to the bunkers and to be the one who takes charge of doing this very, very dangerous operation of sneaking in on the bunkers and trying to blow them up. But she also seems a little bit like sort of a loose cannon. She seems as if she doesn't really have any fear in life at all. She's just walking headstrong into any situation, and perhaps that comes from being a woman in the army at this point in time. But she really, really has a strong, forceful appearance, and she just doesn't back down for anything. So Burns is afraid that, you know, maybe she'll just somehow spiral out of control and just start blowing everything up. Anyway, he doesn't want to be too close to her. She's got too many grenades and satchel charges and bazookas for him to care about it. And then finally, there is Hangman. And Hangman's this kind of guy. He's apparently a local. He's supposed to have been living in Trier before the war broke out. And there are even rumors that when the war broke out, initially, he was fighting on the German side. So, you know, it may just be rumors, but he speaks fluent German, and he knows all the little roads and byways and lanes in this area of the country. And he's a good driver, and he will be organizing, or he has organized, the different canoes that will be going down this river when we're trying to locate the bunkers. But again, you know, can you really trust someone who's been living here since before the war and maybe fought on the wrong side? Again, like, Burns doesn't like the smell of this. Something seems fishy, like something is off, or perhaps someone just put this plan together too quickly. You know, it happens. But it's really not the, you know, final mission that he would have wished for if this war is to end very, very soon. So these are our guys. We're gonna have 4 canoes going in. We're gonna have Asher and Freak, Cowboy and Elias, Burns and Dallas, and Gina and Hangman. And it is pitch black night, so we can only see a maximum of 5 hexes in any direction. And yeah, we're just gonna quietly get those boats in the water, and then we're gonna start slowly drifting down that river looking for bongers. And if we find any, we're gonna try to blow them up, and we're gonna try to make our way back into those canoes, back up the river, and out again and into safety. So let's see how this works out. If we're successful, we may be able to actually facilitate an advance by the American troops just tomorrow or the day after. So this is a crucial mission. Let's hope that we are properly equipped for it. So again, as last time, we have the cartridge that we're gonna be checking every time we move into a new space. And the cartridge this time has 4 different levels. So we're starting at level 1, and as the game progresses, the level will be upped until we're at level 4 and everything explodes, or we get the hell out of here. So without further ado, and if you're ready for the ride, we're gonna sail down that river and see what is awaiting us. So Asher and Freak are gonna enter the scene and let's see what happens. They enter up here in H1, and as always, I find the H1 combination on the cartridge and I look to see what happens. And nothing happens. Great. So far, it's quiet. There's nothing to be heard. Perhaps a few night animals that's sniffing around in the grasses by the banks of the river. But the water is still, and the paddles, they glide silently through the water, pushing the canoe forward as it just glides down the middle of the river, and they continue onwards. Let's see. Again, it's all quiet. Nothing happens. So I think that right after Asher and Freak, I think we're going to sail in with the boats really close together, because if anything happens, I want to have as many canoes on the map before we go into any kind of bullet time. So I think the next boat I'm going to send in is going to be... How are we going to do this? We're going to send in Cowboy and Elias. So they are now coming in, following after Asher and Freak, and Asher and Freak continue down the river. And again, I should say, you should notice, if you look down here at this part of the map, you can see this building here, it has actually been reduced to rubble. And this is from all the bombing campaigns and the artillery fire that the Americans have been throwing at this particular fortified line of the Germans. And you can also see all these craters that are lying out here, which is where bombshells have fallen. These craters can be used for cover, so maybe it's not too bad to be around the craters. But I also wonder if there's any clue as to where these bunkers actually are. When we kind of look at, they have been trying to bomb heavily in this area. Is that because there's information that the bunkers are in this area? Or are they really beyond on the other side of the river? We don't know. But I do hope that they refrain from bombing tonight while we're out. But one never knows with these crazy colonels. Swordlander asks, are the white tiled bunkers or craters? They are craters. We don't know where the bunkers are. We're trying to locate the bunkers. So these are craters from artillery fire and bombs from planes. And this here, these two markers indicate that this building is rubble. And then there is one building over here where it's just like a tiny outpost or something. We'll find out if we get there. Let's try to hope we can make it as far down the river as possible. I mean, we should also think about, of course, where to draw up our canoes and just go into safety. Is it safer to be on the water or in the trees? We don't know. Are the Germans watching the banks? So I think we should try to go down a little further. But there are woods on this side of the bank, which looks really nice for cover and for hiding out. So I'm already looking for nice places to get off these boats. But first, Asher and Freak have made it down here. Something happens. Oh no. Are we in an ambush already? 561 in the paragraph booklet. So we will place an event marker here. And then we need to do a perception check, -1. And Asher has a perception of 6, so he needs to roll 5 or less to make it. And he rolls exactly a 5, so he passes his check. He spots the wreck of a Sherman tank. I'll just find a Sherman tank. And it is in hex number E6. Right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's exactly as far as he can see by night. But he spots, just as the moon is coming out from over the trees, and he just sees a few rays that hits the top of this sort of piece of mangled metal that sits there sort of half hidden in this cover terrain. And he can clearly see from the outline, despite it being so mangled, that it is in fact an American Sherman tank. So that's apparently as far as that tank made it. Which also makes me wonder whether these craters here also represent fire from the Germans, artillery fire from the German lines. I actually don't know. But clearly the Americans are trying to move in from the west. Now, there is a chance that something is in that German tank. I don't think, I mean, it's a wreck. It's disabled, so we are not going to be able to use it. But I just wonder, could anyone still be in there, be trapped in there for a moment? We just listen quietly in the still night air and we cannot hear anything. But when was this thing blown up? I don't know. So Asher, certainly being the kind of commander he is, he doesn't want any detours. So he just scans the horizon. He doesn't see any sign of life, any distress signal, anything. So he's just going to pass it by. But let's see if this is something we need to investigate later. And again, we have Cowboy and Freak, Cowboy and Elias following up. And now we also have Brett Burns and Dallas entering on their canoe. So here we come, silently gliding through the night, and Asher continues down the river. So basically, if we hadn't spotted the Sherman tank already, we would have had another chance to spot it here. This is kind of the vantage point where it can be spotted from. But we've already seen it, so we're just going to glide past. It's like this. So we're sailing in here, and we're still looking at the German tank, and we can see, again, the moonlight plays beautifully in the mangled metal of the tank as we glide by, an ominous side in the horizon, making us think about what is it that we're up against? What is even the chances of us succeeding or surviving this thing? So here we have Cowboy and Elias coming down, Burns and Dallas, and now also the final canoe with Gina and Hangman entering up here. We are now all behind enemy lines. Okay. Oof. This feels a little bit like a game of chicken here. Like, how far do I want to take these boats down before I get out? Because I also feel that soon we're just sitting ducks here if there are any Germans hiding in those woods. So how far? Should we try to get to that bend in the river and then go out there? There's a whole line of woods, and maybe we can somehow circle in here. Where do we think the bunkers are? I'd imagine they'd be on the right side of the river, but then again, this German tank was shut down. So that couldn't have been from bunkers over here because they wouldn't have been able to see it. That would actually have been bunkers placed along this line. Okay, I'm gonna chance it and go a little further down this river, but I think we soon need to get out. If we hadn't spotted the tank, we would have had a chance to spot it. And this also reminds me, I need to cross out sighting number 7. So this means that we have now seen number 7, which in this scenario represented a blown up Sherman tank. So we're still going good. No worries so far. Coming down the river. Slowly, everybody lining up here. And yeah, I should also say that our satchel charges and our Gina's bazooka, they're actually in the boat. So if the boat sinks, the explosives will sink with the boat. So that's also something to worry about. We really don't want that to happen. So only when they get out of the boat will they have a chance to sort of carry it themselves. And these satchel charges that I'm talking about, by the way, they're explosives, basically. They are kind of little explosive packets that are more dangerous and damaging than a grenade. So they're bigger, they're heavier. I'm not exactly sure what a satchel charge looks like, but I'm kind of imagining something like a lot of dynamite sticks with tape wrapped around them or something, like a really, really serious firecracker that can blow up a house. So those are the kind of things that we're carrying around. And ideally, we should use them to blow up bunkers with. But they're heavy and they're dangerous. So everyone is going to leave that to Gina, if at all possible. Now, Asher and Freak moves toward that bend in the river where they're planning to get out. But let's see if they get there. Nothing happens here, so everyone follows along. And again, I think this is really a typical ambush moment, sort of this tension building, this moving inch by inch through the landscape, not knowing what is going to happen. It creates this feeling that every time you move a piece, something can happen that completely changes the situation. Suddenly there are Germans everywhere. You go into bullet time. However you are positioned, that is going to determine your exact initial position for the beginning of a conflict scene in the game. So it's really about trying to think ahead and make sure that you have positioned your people exactly as you want them. So that said, I'm actually thinking right now, because we have Dallas, our sniper, with us, whether Dallas and Burns should get off here, because there's a really good vantage point to see down both sides. Set up the sniper there, while the others, they go ahead a little further down the river. So I think I'm going to do that. Instead of just having Asher and Freak pounce ahead, we're gonna get off here. So Burns and Dallas, and again, Burns is playing it, I think, a little bit safe here, because he knows this is a dangerous mission, and he really just wants it to be over, to be home, and he wants this war to be over, and he's almost home. He can feel that he's almost home. So he's taken all the precautions, so he wants to set up a cover position where he can stay with Dallas, at least until now. So what happens now is that Dallas and Burns, they move into the woods, and then we take their canoe marker and flip it over to show that the canoe is now beached in this space, and they are getting out of the canoe. And we, of course, have to check if anything is in those woods. Nope, it's a safe spot. So they get out of the boat, they crouch down, and they sit there, Dallas with his automatic rifle, and Burns with his semi-auto and his binoculars, just constantly scanning the horizon. Hangman and Gina sails up. And here's another worry for us. Hangman and Gina, they are really low initiative soldiers, which means that they panic easily. They need a commander within 2 spaces range of them in order to make sure that they don't panic. So they cannot stray too far from either Burns or Asher. We'll have to find out who they're going to hang out with. I don't really want them. I mean, we need Gina up close to blow up the bunkers, but she may not be the one who needs to actually find them. So I'm thinking more maybe that Asher and Freak and Cowboy and Elias, they're going to search for the bunkers, and then we're going to bring up Gina. Hopefully Hangman can get her there quickly and do the job, while Burns and Dallas, they keep cover. But let's see if it goes that smoothly. So Asher keeps on down the river. Rough water. So of course, right here where there's a bend in the river, there are rocks jutting out of the water. There are sort of little twirls and mini waterfalls in the river, and suddenly the canoe starts moving, and Asher and Freak has to hold really tight and use their paddles with maximum strength to avoid the boat crashing. Let's see. Use a PC check. So again, it'll be Asher. He has a perception of 6, so 6 or less, it'll work. Stegen Deluxe says these are some very cool names. Yeah, this is the Dirty Dozen on a mission. All right, Asher. It's a 9. Asher fails to see the rock that jutts out of the water just in front of the canoe. What happens? The canoe begins to tip over. So we now need to use our driving skill, which is of course normally used for vehicles, but in this case also used for the canoe. So let's see who among them has the highest driving skill here. It is Asher and Freak. And, well, it'll be Asher again. He has a driving skill of 6. So again, he needs a 6 or less to avoid this catastrophe. And he manages. He just manages. So he manages to control the canoe. And nothing more happens. So it's just through the rapids. So basically, to get through those rapids, you need to do a perception check and then a driving skill check. So you have 2 chances to make it. So you got a lot of chances, but I also fear that if you don't make it, something really bad could happen. So I think Asher is definitely going to warn the canoes that follow, because looking at, for example, Cowboy and Elias coming down right now, they have like a perception of 4. Cowboy has a driving skill of 4, so they're not super equipped for this. Hangman and Gina. Well, Hangman is great. He has a driving skill of 8, so he's like the perfect sailor. He can navigate it, so maybe he needs to go 4th. But I would like to get Cowboy and Elias further down, but I'm not sure that I can trust them to actually make it safely around the bend. Let's see what we're gonna do. They go down here. And then Gina and Hangman are here. All right. What do we do? I think first of all, I had said that I wanted to get Asher out there. Do I still want to do that? I do feel now they just made it through the rapids that he should go just a little further, right? Just a little further. If we can get down to that crater, that's going to provide us with some great cover. Or should we be looking at the east bank or the west bank? What do you guys think? Where are these bungers when you look at this map? Where are the bungers? Okay, so let's continue down the river. L6. Nothing happens. I'm in 2 minds here, because I'm also really curious about that Sherman tank, and I think that Burns, he's sitting there also looking for signs of life. No, we're gonna beach here. We're not gonna take the chance, because we simply cannot afford to lose our scouts, I think. So Cowboy and Elias, they're gonna beach in here in the woods. They are drawing their canoe up on the banks and they're getting off. And let's see if anything happens there. Nothing happens. They're safe. And then we'll have Gina and Hangman just drifting down, and Hangman, he sees these. I'm not actually sure he sees it because it's really dark. And he doesn't have a great perception, but he only has a perception of 2, so he's leading the canoe. He doesn't spot the rapids, and now he has to navigate them. But he has an 8 in driving skill, so only on a roll of 9 does he fail. Jesus me! The local navigator, the guy who we know the safest canoeist around here, fails his driving skill check. Is this on purpose, guys? I said it. I had a bad feeling about it. And this is the canoe with the bazooka and our demolitions expert in it. Oh my goodness. Ugh. Holy crap. What happens? We lose control of the canoe. It overturns. All equipment stored in the canoe is lost and the canoe sinks. No! There goes our bazooka. What about the soldiers? My God. They have to crawl onto land. So they're going to crawl onto land here. So basically, we don't go very far. And Hangman, he's leading the boat. Suddenly it jolts against a rock in the river. And a big hole is torn open in the side of the canoe. And there's no time to save the gear. It just sinks within seconds and descends down to the bottom of the river. And with it, most important of all, goes our bazooka. So that basically means that our demolitions expert, she does not have the one weapon that is really capable of blowing up these bunkers. The only way to blow up bunkers now would be to get all the way up close to them, somehow break open the door and get a satchel charge in there. I mean, this makes the mission so much more dangerous. I had hoped that we could sit at the distance and just, shoot bazooka shells at these bunkers. And I must say that right now, I don't trust Hangman at all. I just don't trust him. This cannot be a coincidence that the most experienced sailor on this river, who knows the river, he's been living here for years, that he, of all the people, should not be able to navigate it. It's just not, it doesn't seem realistic. And then why was he in the boat with the demolitions expert? Why is it this boat that sinks? Why do we not have a bazooka now? I think there's some big red flags being raised right now, but let's keep an eye out for Hangman. And Gina, of course, she is cursing him. She is bad-mouthing him so bad. He has basically completely, removed, her reason for being here. She doesn't even have a gun. Like, she just have, right now, a grenade and some bazooka charges, but no bazooka, and then a satchel charge. So I'm gonna delete the bazooka. Gina. So, just if you cannot tell from my voice, this is really, really bad news. And as Swordbender says, never stand up in a canoe. You did that on purpose, Hangman, didn't you? This reminds me of the opening scene in Where Eagles Dare, where they parachute out of the plane and they land in this big open empty landscape, and some guy's parachute is caught in the trees and he's mysteriously strangulated, apparently, I think, from the straps of his parachute and left dangling there, and everybody is thinking, was this on purpose or was it not? I have the same vibes right here. Okay, so drenched with water, shivering with cold. Remember, this is January. January in southwestern Germany, 1945. They crawl on land, they crawl in under the trees. In M5, what do they find? Nothing. So they just lay there, catch their breath. Gina cursing Hangman and Hangman protesting his innocence. This is so bad. Yeah. Asher and Freak continue down the river. I mean, they look behind them and they just see the boat overturn and go down. But they know they just have to push forward. They have to find the bunkers. Asher is not one to stop a mission. He's just calling for everyone to keep on, move forward. L7. Nothing happens. And now I think really we have to move forward because we want to also keep up the pace with the canoe, so we are still in range of command. And also, if anything happens, we're going to need our team here. So it seems that this area is pretty clear. So maybe we can just have the other guys move down along the tree line and not get into those wild, rapid waters. So let's have yeah, let's send our scouts up first. So Cowboy and Elias, they're going to move into here where Gina and Hangman are lying. And they're going to ask them, like, what the fuck happened? Like, what were you doing out there? What happened? And Hangman is like, yeah, there was a rock. I don't know. The water must be low. I haven't seen it before. It just tore a hole in the side of the boat and it went down. I couldn't do anything. And Gina is like, not buying it. Anyway, they give them a blanket to warm themselves up a little bit, a dry blanket, and then they move further down the tree line. M6. Nothing happens. It's all too quiet here. It's all too quiet. Okay, we're also gonna... I mean, the problem is also now, I think, that the boats that are left, they're really far back. So it would actually be nice to have them further down. But, you know, we're not gonna... Yeah, we're not gonna chance it and go past those rapids with any other boats. So we will have to move down like this. And let's get Burns and Dallas down here. And maybe, yeah, they're just going to go up here and check that there's nothing behind us at least, because we're now on the east bank of the river. And as far as my geography goes, we're deep in German territory right now. Should we try to check out that crater to see if there's anything? I don't know why I would go down into a crater, but maybe there's a shell, maybe there's a sign, and it's cover. So yeah, I think that for now, Asher and Freak, they're going to beach their canoe right here. They make it back into it, but I just want to check out that crater hole. There's also that building down here that was blown up. I don't know if... I mean, it's good for cover, but I don't know if it's good for anything else. Let's see. K8. Okay, we need to do an activation check. That was something that we didn't do in the last mission that we played because activation checks were not really part of it. As you may be able to see down here on this card, depending on which sort of condition, that is how alert the situation is, like how desperate the situation is, there's a greater chance of Germans being alerted to our presence. So basically right now, nothing much have happened. Well, a canoe has sunk, but apart from that, we've been really quiet. There's been no shots or anything. So there's a low chance of any Germans catching sight of us. But there is a chance. So right now, the chance is if I roll a 0 or 1, and then it also says here, probably because of the location that is more exposed, I have to add 1. So on a 0, a 1, or a 2, we are probably spotted. But we are not. So then we have to do a perception check. So there's something here. Asher, he just sits very quiet, lying at the edge of the crater, and he's hearing something. He's doing a perception check. But even with the bonus, he cannot make it. So, yeah. He thinks there's something there, but he cannot hear it or see it. Perhaps it's too far away, or perhaps it was just something else. Then we have Cowboy and Elias continuing down the line. I mean, we can see 5 spaces here, right? So we should be able to surmise that there aren't any bungers in this whole area. It's just a big open area. These spaces here where they see some shade in it, those are places which are not, it's not really terrain as such, but it's places that afford cover. Perhaps because little depressions in the landscape, ditches, fields, gutters, things like that. But yeah, let's just keep down the line. And do we have anything that we can give to Gina? Not really. I think we really need to have Gina and Hangman in the back now, which is kind of ironic since Hangman is the local who should be leading the way. But Gina's not trusting him, and Burns always had a bad feeling about him, so he's not trusting him too much either. So he's going to be left in the back. And then, let's see. Are they going to get back in the canoe? because they almost saw something, so there might be some kind of activity here. I mean, this could also be an indication, of course, that this was shot up by a bunger. So there could be a bunger, again, within a radius of 5 of this one. So maybe he needs to explore this site because he thought he heard something. No, I think we need to check out. So they're moving into cover down here, leaving the canoe behind. Asher and Freak, K9. Oh, all hell could break loose any moment now. Minefield! My goodness! We have stepped straight into a minefield. I think that was what we might have spotted if we had been a little bit more attentive before. So we have now Asher and Freak going into the minefield. So we have to use perception, I believe. Oh my goodness, they both have to make a check. Okay, so Asher checks first. Suddenly we are in a minefield. That was what he saw out of the corner of his eye. Just that glint again of a moon ray playing in the metal. And he has a perception of 6, and he rolls a 7. My God, Asher just stepped on a grenade. This whole freaking mission is just going to hell. What happens? He takes damage as if he was hit by a grenade indoors. This is really bad. So Asher, he crawls up from the crater, and he's just trying to inch a little bit further. He thought he heard something out there, and then suddenly there is this click sound under his right hand, and an explosion rings out. A 10 here is a 0, by the way, which is good. So that means that there is a loud explosion. His ears are ringing, and he's looking down himself. He's looking for any sign of damage or blood, but there is nothing. He just panics. He immediately falls down prone. And just rolls over, lies on the ground, and you can just see the sort of dust settling slowly over the ground. And he turns around and yells to Freak, "Watch out! Watch out!" And is it too late or not? Freak only has a perception of 3. And no, it's too late. Freak says, "What?" Takes another step, steps on a grenade, and is blown up, explodes in a cloud of blood in the middle of the night, lighting up like a human flare. Freak is gone, man. Freak is gone. Freak is hanging in the trees. There's nothing left of Freak. One guy down. You know, Burns already said it. Like, why bring these amateur scouts into the picture? What's the freaking point? Who ordered this? So, Freak is out. That was fast. We haven't even met a single German. I'm gonna give him a kill marker here. God. And Asher, he just is lying there on the ground and looking for him. But there's nothing really left. All there is there's that grenade on the ground, and there is his rifle. But he cannot carry the rifle, but Asher, being Asher, just reaches over and take that unexploded grenade lying on the ground next to Freak and put it down in his own belt. Holy smokes. Now, this also means, since a bomb just went off, that the level of German alertness is going to rise. So we're going to move now from condition 1 to condition 2. The stakes are upped. Everybody freezes. Like, so we already had a canoe sink, and we had an inattentive scout being blown up in a minefield. Okay. This tells me that if this side of the river is mined, if there's a tank that blew up over there, that likely the bungers are not in this northwestern part of the map. They're either further down here or over on the east. But right now, we kind of need to regroup a little bit because we're in trouble. So after this completely failed expedition into enemy territory and into a minefield, Asher, he slowly gets up and dusts off the dirt and some of the worst of the blood and entrails from Freak that's clinging to his uniform, and he crawls back into the boat. And, oh, wait a sec. We're having a different problem here. We actually need 2 soldiers in order to sail a canoe, and the river cannot be crossed without canoe. So we have to sail someone across to pick up Asher, or he'll have to be alone on this side of the river. I don't think we have time to go back. I mean, clearly the German knows that something is going on. I mean, I guess it could just be some kind of sea otter or something that stepped on a landmine and blew up. But definitely the Germans will be on the lookout now for suspicious activity. So we need to regroup with Asher, and the only way to do that is through the river, since we're not using the canoes. We're gonna go down this way. So Cowboy and Elias moving down. Nothing luckily happens. The rest of the bunch, they just follow. Ooh, by the way, before I do that, the moment that we have a condition change, we actually need to check all the spaces that we are currently in to see if the new condition activates something in those spaces, if something happens, if we're more exposed than we were before. So let's just do that first. So Asher in the minefield with the dead Freak right next to him. Yeah, something happens. Oh my God. This is, I would say, rather different from our last mission, which started out somewhat more quietly. This here is just devastation right from the beginning. You know, can we even complete the mission with what we have? I think, you know, anyone who would be sound of mind would just turn back now, order the mission back, say like it's a failure, let's save our soldiers, let's save our equipment, and let's get back and try to do it again some other night. Tonight is not our lucky night. But again, Asher is not that kind of guy. He's going to press on, and yeah, he's not going to accept. I mean, coming back like this with lost equipment, dead guys, and nothing to show for it, not even the sighting of a bonger, he just cannot have that sitting on him. Swordvander says, a team of the most anti-social Marines being sent into enemy territory with nothing but a few leaky canoes and a few bags of rusty ammunitions. It sure sounds like someone ordered a suicide mission. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Burns is definitely thinking that. That maybe this whole thing was a setup. Somebody needs to get someone out of the way, or there is a completely different objective here that that he has not been told of. So, okay, no, so this is just the minefield again, so nothing new happens. It's just in case we had wandered into this space now in the new condition, there would still, of course, have been the minefield. So there's still mines around Asher. He's just lying very quietly, really sort of looking over the ground, letting the moon light the way for him so he can sneak his way back to the canoe, which then again, he cannot even push out. So he'll probably going to sneak down further, but he has to wait for the other guys. Let's see if anything happens. Hangman and Gina, M5. Is anything up there? Nothing. How about Burns, Dallas? Nothing. And M7? Cowboy, Elias? Nothing. Okay, so nothing new happens. So we're going to send them further down the line. M8. On they move. Nothing happens. It's still quiet. You can just hear the gentle lapping of the river against the banks. There is that moment where you look up and you see a shooting star in the sky and you kind of forget that you're in the middle of a war zone and that everything is bombed out around you and that you just lost one of your mates. And they don't even know it on the eastern side of the river. They just heard that explosion, but there's no communication. Is Asher gone too? They don't really know. They move further down the river to find out. So we need to do, again, a perception check. And here we have Cowboy and Elias. They both have 4 in perception, so 4 or less. And it's a 6. I mean, these rookies, you know, they couldn't see a German bunker if you placed one in front of them, right? They thought it would be a natural rock outcropping or something. I mean, these guys. So we have another activation check. And we have just raised the danger level here. So we are now in condition 2, which means activations happens on a 3 or lower. But there's a -1 to this check, so it's a 2 or lower. Nothing happens. God, we have to do another awareness check. This time it's a -1. So we need a 3 or less for Cowboy or Elias to see something. And a 4, they don't. Okay, I have this feeling that if our binoculars were working, if our eyesight was working, we would already have spotted at least one bunker in here. But, you know, apparently we have really poor eyesight at night. We're just not seeing what may be right in front of us. But this is going to happen every time someone moves into this space. So what I really want to do is I want to get Bradley and Dallas down there, because Dallas is our crack shot. So if there's anything, we'll need him. It still kills me that we don't have a bazooka, because I don't know how to deal with a bunker right now, to be honest. But now you can see there is a connection across the river, because now Asher is within 2 spaces of the other guy, so they can actually communicate sort of very quietly, whisper across the surface of the river, the sound traveling just across the water from ear to ear, and Asher telling them that Freak's gone, Freak's gone. His rifle is over there. I should place a rifle there, because right now Gina doesn't have a rifle. So if we could get Gina over there, she could actually get a rifle, so she could actually shoot. She's a crack shot. She need at least that. But I don't know how to get her over there right now. Well, let me just find a rifle. Here's a rifle. I'm gonna put that over here. The problem is, though, that the rifle, of course, is lying in the middle of a minefield. So in order to get to the rifle, you have to crawl into the minefield. And right now, Asher cannot carry it, because he already has his submachine gun and his satchel charge, so he cannot carry anything more. Cowboy. Elias, move down 1 further space. Yeah, this time they have a +1, so they just need a 5 or less to spot whatever it is they're looking for. And finally, Cowboy sees something, and he just stops quiet and moves his finger, and with the other hand, he holds back Elias. What is it that they're seeing? Cowboy sees the silhouette of a sentry standing in K11. Where is that? Oh my God, that's right here. There's a guard on the road right here. Just, you know, like a stone's throw from where Freak just blew up. He must be very much alert right now. This means that we can now either go into round mode, that is basically trying to take him out, or we can just quietly continue down around him. I'm going to put a marker here to show that there is a sentry standing here. I don't want to get into any unnecessary firefights right now, or at least only if I have a good shot. Perhaps if we can get a sniper down there without incident, they could try to take him out, because that would clear the way for Asher to come down here and cross over the river. I think that's the plan. So what happens now is that Bradley and Dallas, they move down here through the dense foliage around along the bank of the river, and they now have to do a check to see if they spot what Cowboy and Elias didn't, or whether it's the same thing. Yeah, okay. So that's basically just the same thing that you could see from there. So they don't see it, but what we're going to do now is that we're going to have Bradley and Dallas set up here. They're not going to commence rounds just yet. No, they're first going to send Cowboy and Elias into those woods there so they can give supporting fire. And then let's hope that they don't stir up a nest of something there. But yeah, they don't. Okay, so Dallas raises his rifle and points towards this guy. Let's see who the sentry is. So now I find the German soldier card. It is Ludwig. And he is right here. And he has an initiative of 3. He has a bolt rifle and 2 grenades. We have the advantage. Everyone who can see him automatically aware. So basically, Burns, Dallas, Cowboy, and Elias, they are all aware. Is that this whole stack? Yeah, there's these 4 guys. We have the advantage, but still we need to throw a higher advantage number than the German. Or a higher initiative number, better initiative number, whatever. 7. What is that? That is up here, that looks good. And Ludwig has a 3, so he's down here, perfect. We're gonna have basically, each of our guys are gonna have 2 turns before Ludwig has a chance to do anything. So this is like proper setup. First, we're gonna have Dallas raise his rifle, and it's an automatic rifle at a range of just 2 spaces. So that's 5 plus skill, that's 6. He's standing in an open space. That's 7. So 7 or less to hit. It's a 4, he hits. Oh, first we need to see if it jams. Only 5% chance of that. Doesn't happen, luckily. So it's a hit. And what's the damage like? It's a 2. That's not good, I think. Well, because it's an automatic rifle, it's still enough to wound the guy. So the guy takes a shot and he immediately drops to the ground, lying prone. So that was, and he loses his turn, this turn, and that was Dallas. Now it's a little more difficult to hit now because he's lying on the ground, but we really need to take him out. Let's see if that expended any ammo from Dallas. It did not. Great. Then we have Burns. He takes his semi-automatic rifle. It's a distance of 2, so it's a 5. He doesn't have anything to add. Now he's lying prone in the open, which means a -1, so it's a 4 or less to hit the guy. And he misses. Does he expend ammo? He does not, I believe. No, he does not. Then, that was Burns. Okay, let's show us what you got, Cowboy. He also hits on a 4 or less. He doesn't hit. Does he expend ammo? Oh yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. So Cowboy just shoots wildly, desperately into the air. Complete misfire. Doesn't hit anything. And Burns just shakes his head while Dallas, he takes aim for his next shot, which hopefully is going to be better. Then we have Elias over here, who is this sort of frail young guy who doesn't seem to have seen any combat any time. He only has a pistol. He can try to shoot his pistol here at range 3. Does this even make sense? Well, I guess it does. So Elias, he, with a shaking hand, lifts his pistol and tries to squeeze the trigger. It's a 5, it's a -1 because he's lying prone, it's a -1 because it's a crappy shot, so he's down to a 3 or less. It's a hit. Does it jam? It does not jam. Does it do damage? It's a 6. Yeah, it's a second hit. So just in a panic mode, Elias raises his gun, he shoots. This is more luck than it is skill, but the bullet just whizzes straight in between the gap of the German's helmet and the top of his uniform, hits him in the neck, and he's out cold. He's a goner. Ludwig is dead. So let's mark a dead German here, and let's put Ludwig away. So that's it. Now we have been in this bullet time mode, and this is something that we didn't see in the last playthrough, because as I said, the game alternates between these sort of large freeform turns and then this bullet time action when there are actually enemies on the map. So right now we were first in this sort of slow, extended time feel. Now we had an encounter, bullets flying, people setting up. Now the German threat is annihilated. So again, we go back into this more freeform mode. We move all our soldiers down here to unaware. So there are no enemies in sight. We did eliminate the sentry. We now have a reasonable way for Asher to get back to the rest of the team. We still have Gina without weapons and Hangman having to answer some really tough questions here, I think. But at least we eliminated that one threat. But our canoes are also beached way up. I don't know how we're going to get out of this hellhole, but our mission has gotten off to, I would say, kind of an inauspicious start. One of our canoes just went down in a rapid up here. Let me actually just mark this as a danger spot. And then we had our commander, Asher, who beached his canoe on the west side of the river and crawled into what turned out to be a minefield, and Freak, who was accompanying him, was blown up. And let's just put a killed in action marker on Freak here, and then have Asher and Freak's rifle is still in there if anyone is daring enough to crawl into a minefield. And then the only fortuitous turn of event is that we managed to spot a German sentry down here, and we got our sniper Dallas to hide in the woods and basically take him out, or at least wound him. And then miraculously, Elias, that no one had thought could, even hit a wall in front of him, he just, from a distance of, 30, 40 meters, just send a bullet right in through the neck of this sentry and downed him, which reminds me that we should check if that expended any ammo from his pistol. And it actually did. So the ammo system here, as you might have figured out, is that our soldiers, they have ammo. So for example, Elias, he has 3 times pistol ammo. Every time you shoot off your gun, there's a chance that you expend one of your ammo. So you don't really know how much ammo you got. Now, Elias spent 1 out of his 3, so he's got 2 left. That may mean that he may be able to shoot wildly for the rest of the mission if he doesn't roll that he depletes ammo when he shoots. But it could also mean that he only has 2 shots left for the entire mission. So there's also ammo to consider. But right now, we are looking for German bunkers, and we kind of need to find them, even though we have lost our bazooka, and that still weighs on my mind so badly. And that it happened, that it happened at the hands of Hangman, that lousy canoeist who was supposed to be the best. I really hate that. Anyway, now Hangman and Gina, they're gonna sort of make up the rear here. And I think right now what we want to do is that we want to get Asher back and regroup with the others. So maybe we should try to set up Bradley and Dallas down here in the woods to, again, have a good view of both the river and the road in case anything happens. We already sent Cowboy and Elias down there to check out that there was nothing. So we're going to continue down here and then right there. So let's see if there's anything there. I mean, clearly this is the German who is guarding the road leading further into the German town of Trier. And now we've taken him out. This is probably a guard's house that I imagine was bombed by the Americans, but we should probably rummage through it. Perhaps there's some papers that can help us locate the bunkers in there. Would be really, really great, because apparently we're not spotting anything. Yeah, there's nothing here. Seems safe. So now Ashley, he's going to crawl out of that crater, that minefield, sorry, and into the brush here. All this has already been taken care of. So he kind of now has to cross the road, it looks like. And this German soldier who's lying dead there, he has a bolt rifle and some grenades. Perhaps it'd be better, actually, for Gina to get a hold of that German bolt rifle, even though you're at a disadvantage when you're shooting with the German weapons because you don't know them that well. She's a good shot, so she'll still be able to make use of it. But, yeah. What's the plan here? We want to get to that house. Should we... I mean, I don't want to use Asher as bait. But yeah, maybe try to get Asher over to this house undercover from Burns and Dallas. Let's hope he makes it. Nothing so far. He goes down to K12. He just runs across the road. Oops, let's get him upstanding, running as fast as he can. And then he gets into this rubbled building. Let's see if there's anything in here. So he just rummages through them, and they are keeping sentry up there. Yeah, we need to check for activation. The activation level is right now at 3, and this check is with a -1. So it's check for an activation level 2 or less, something happens. So nothing happens. We're not activating anything. That's probably good, given the situation. And yeah, we're still not seeing anything. So I kind of feel that we really have to get across the river. But let's just explore this building here in full before we do anything else. And I think this is indeed a guard's house, the old sentry house that has just been bombed to smithereens. But let's just rummage through all the rubble in here, in the rooms in the other part of the building, to make sure that no one's hiding in here and that there's nothing that we'll be missing. We have to do another activation check as we move through the building. Right, and again, it's 2 or less, something happens. Again, nothing happens. Okay. So Asher is apparently going through all this rubble very, very quietly. And the sentry, he hardly let out a sound before he was gone. And that explosion in the night, had made the Germans a little more on their toes, but still, they haven't seen anything afterwards. So I think they just guessed that, you know, maybe it was a shell shot in by the Americans, or maybe some animal that triggered something in a minefield. I mean, could there be something down here, or do we need to get Asher across the river? And do we need to check out that outpost? I mean, that's the only building that we're aware of. I'm just thinking that, I mean, there could be something down here. Perhaps if we were on the river, we would see it? I don't know. It depends on how this thing is structured. But our boats are long gone. Yeah, I feel that we should go and check this thing out. Check out down here before we go up there, or what? Or perhaps we just need someone here to keep watch while the others move back up? Yeah. Let's get Hangman and Gina down here. And then let's try to send Burns and Dallas up here to check out that building. But I think that we're gonna have Cowboy and Elias as scouts move ahead, even though I don't really trust in their abilities, but let's try it out anyway. So they're gonna move down here, 012. So they have to test their awareness, their perception, and it's a +2, so it should be pretty easy to see. They need a 6, and they finally manage. So Cowboy, he sees something. We have just spotted our first bunker. Perhaps these scouts aren't as bad as I made them out to be. At least this was a good spot. I mean, Elias, he just did a crack shot with his gun, and now Cowboy, he calls back to Burns and says, there's a bunker, it's camouflaged. What we're gonna do is that we're gonna place a marker in S13, which is over here. Oh, it's right here. It's actually sitting, this is elevation, right? With the white being the lowest elevation, the yellow higher elevation, and the green the highest elevation. So it's sitting right here at the edge of this higher elevation. There is even an embankment right here. So it's overlooking this entire area. And we know there is a bunker there. And I'm I'm not going to place it just yet because we don't know which way it's facing, actually, which is something that we'll only find out when we get there, I believe. So let me do like this to put the bunker here and place this one over to indicate that we haven't actually seen it. And then I'm going to make a note, which is that we can go to 884 anytime we want. That meaning that we can choose to engage when we will. So right now we have the advantage of actually knowing where the bunker is without the people in the bunker having seen us. So we need to try to somehow sneak behind that thing, which tells me that going down this way is just going to alert them. So I see now that ideally what we should have is that we should have our boats and go all the way down here and perhaps get off here and try to come from behind. So right now the second best options will seem to be somehow try to get at them from there. I mean, if only we had that bazooka, we could do serious damage, but we don't. We don't really have... I mean, the only way... We need to find out where the door into the bunker is, which side the door is on. And then we need to get to the door, and we need to get a satchel charge thrown in there. And my thinking is that the door is probably at the back of the bunker. So our only chance, I think, is to get around the bunker somehow. I think charging head on is going to be just suicide unless we run very quickly. Because the thing is, if we want to go around, we will still have to come across the road where we'll probably be seen. So it may be a better chance for us to hide in the woods. Or perhaps actually to go around and try to enter that building and make sure that that nothing untoward is up there, eliminate whatever threat is there, and then perhaps go around like this somehow. I mean, remember, it can only see 5 spaces because it's night, but that's still pretty long. So yeah, but right now there's a line of trees here, so I think we're going to try to move just behind the trees up towards that building, though that could also spell trouble if there's a sentry there. 1, 2, 3, 4, I can see all the way down there. So we'll actually have to move up through the forest and there. I think that's going to be our play. We're going to bring Hangman and Gina up, and first we're going to bring Bradley, or Burns. I keep saying Bradley because that was his name in the last mission. So Burns and Dallas there, and then we're going to have Cowboy and Elias here, hoping that the bunker doesn't spot them. We're going to make an activation check. Oh my god. I think we're checking to see if the bunker is going to spot them. On a 2 or less, something happens. It was a 3, so nothing happens. But this, I mean, moving through this whole area, this is going to be so freaking dangerous with that bunker sitting right there. We have an automatic rifle. Can it do any kind of damage to a bunker? Guess not. If we shoot from the door side, it might have an effect, but shooting from a non-door side, yeah, chances are almost nil. So I don't know. I mean, we could also, of course, just task Hangman with getting up there. Since he was the one who lost the bazooka, maybe he's the one who needs to take that satchel charge and just get up there and try to take out that bunker. That's also a little brutal because I think it would be a suicide mission. So no, I think we have to sneak behind the tree line and hope that we're not exposed to anything there. So let's get up here to 011, pray for the best. No one spotting us from the house. We're going to check our awareness here, and Burns has an awareness of 5. The 4, so he succeeds. Right, there is a German hiding right here. We spot him. It's good that we didn't activate that bunker and then also got attacked from behind. It's another sentry. This guy has a machine pistol, which is less nice. And this is Wilhelm. And Wilhelm, he is currently crouching, so he's sitting there just waiting for us to come by and get a clean shot at us. He has an initiative of 2. He's right there. we have the advantage, but we enter bullet time mode right now. So again, we got to do like we did last time and just shoot first and hope that he doesn't have time to focus his ammo or find out that we're even there. We need to finish this quickly. Or 1. So right now, yeah, okay. We actually need to see who can actually see him. But okay, it's a 4 and a 1. I mean, Burns and Dallas. Burns did his check, his perception check, and he's on a 4, so that's here, and the German's on a 1, so that's here. Let's see if Dallas also noticed him. He's got a perception of 4. He did, so that's great news. So Dallas, a sniper, he's also seen that there's a German crouching right there in this slight depression in the ground. He's lying there with a machine pistol. Then there's also a chance that Cowboy and Elias spots him. Cowboy, perception 4, does not spot him. It was a 6. And Elias spots him. So 3 of our guys have spotted him. He's crouching. And we just need to go in for a quick kill again like we did before. So Dallas, we only have 3 shots now, but hopefully it'll be enough. Dallas, he raises his gun. It's a 2 spaces away, so it's close range. It's a 5. He has a +1 for his weapon skill. It's a 6, but this guy is crouching in cover, which is a -1, so it's a 5. But still, 5 or less to hit. Come on, Dallas. It's an 8. It's a misfire. So he's probably unnerved by the whole situation. He's waiting for someone to call this mission off. Like, we're up against bungers. We don't have a bazooka. We cannot blow them up. We cannot get close to them. It's sitting right out there. We can see sort of this big, giant silhouette of this hexagonal bunker just sitting on the outcropping, looking down over the landscape. And we're just like sitting ducks here. So losing his nerve, he doesn't make the shot. And luckily he doesn't expend ammo doing it. But this was not great. So now we have Bradley, Burns trying to make a shot, and he has a 4 or less to hit. He doesn't make the shot either. Does he expend ammo? He does not, I believe. Nope. So we're just not hitting. We're shooting, but it's dark. He's well positioned. He's entrenched in his cover. And now we only have Elias with his pistol, who did miracles last time. But can Elias do it again? He needs a 3 or less to even hit. And it's a 7. It's a misfire. And he luckily does not expend any more ammo. But we just have 3 shots and none of it is hitting. And now Wilhelm looks up. He feels the bullets flying over his head. He looks up and let's see what he does. He's crouching and ready to shoot. His activation number will be 7. Oh, he actually makes a run for it. He can see that he is completely outmanned and he needs to go back, I think, and alert some of his fellow soldiers. So he will move as quickly as possible. Yeah, okay, so he's just going to run as fast as he can. And he has a movement of 4. And he is now in Q10. So he is going to move to Q11. Where's he going? Oh my God, he's running straight past us. The P11. Oh, he is running. Okay, so the situation here is actually that Bradley and Dallas, they are firing at Wilhelm. He's ducking down and he doesn't notice this pistol shot coming from the trees over here. So he just scrambles into the bushes. He gets up, 1, 2, 1, 2, and there with his final move, he ends up straight in the bushes where Elias and Cowboy are lying in ambush. So that was very unfortunate for Wilhelm that he chose to run that way. But let's see if we can use our advantage here. So this is the situation as we enter a new round of combat. And first we have to see if Cowboy, he even notices that. Oh, he does, because this guy's in his space. So what we need to check is if any of the other guys notice what's going on. So Gina, perception 3. Yeah. Gina hears and sees what is happening. And Hangman also has a grip on what is going on here. Oh, we need to take out Freak because he's gone. And Cowboy. And then over here in the house, does Asher actually understand what's happening? He needs to roll a 6 or less. He does not. So he's just in his house. In the house, he's just rummaging through, looking for documents, looking for maps, anything that can help the search. He doesn't know that a bunker has been spotted. He doesn't know there's an encounter just on the other side of the road. He is happily unaware. As we enter into a new round, and first we check for random events. 8. No random event. So we check for initiative. And we win the initiative, which is great. It's a 9. And nobody is panicking here, which is also great. Let's see, this is a 9, this is a 9. And the German has a 1 that is here. Okay, so we should really be able to take out this guy right now. And the first thing that we have is, of course, we have Cowboy and Elias. And I think Cowboy is just going to jump up with his little Bowie knife and get into close combat with this dude. Yeah, it's just a roll. And he's not trying to capture, he's trying to kill, to silence this guy before he even knows what is happening. It's a 3, so he manages to wound him. So he, as the guy, he is running past him, he just grabs him at his collar and pulls him back down on the ground and takes the butt of his knife and just smashes it into the side of his face. The guy goes down to the ground, and seeing him lying there, Elias immediately just jumps over him and tries to finish him off. He has a -1 because he's not super strong in close assault. But still, it's a 6, is enough to inflict another wound, and Wilhelm the sentry is dead. Another German down. So we are pretty successful in actually picking out these stray sentry Germans, but the problem again is it's not really going to help us if we cannot take out the bunkers. But at least we have this, and what I'm also seeing now is that this guy, he has a machine pistol and a round of ammo. So finally, there is something for Gina to pick up. So I think what we're going to do here is we're going to have Cowboy and Elias pick up the weapons and reconnect with Gina, because we don't want Gina and Hangman out here in the woods, because that may alert the bunker to them. So we just silently, without firing a gunshot in the woods, we silently kill off the German, and Cowboy and Elias go over here, and then they give the Germans weapons to Gina. So now Gina has a machine pistol, which she shoots at a -1 because it's German. It only has 1 round of ammo in it, unfortunately. And then she also picks up one of the grenade, and she's still holding on to those bazooka charges, just in case someone left a bazooka behind somewhere. That Sherman tank up there. Might there be a machine gun in it that we can take and use? Might not be a bad idea to have a look. Anyway, this is slightly better. Still, I'm really at a loss of how to approach this whole situation, but I do think that we need to continue on up towards this sentry house, because the guy who was right here, he was not running back to this building. It seems that he was trying to get down, perhaps to alert the other sentry. So maybe this house is not protected or not very well guarded. Let's find out. Burns and Dallas moves ahead. Let me just see if this is probably the one that I already saw. Yeah, I need to cross out S2. And then we're going to bring up the rear. I think we're going to... Now that Gina has the machine pistol, maybe we're going to bring her up here. Does the machine pistol do any... Yeah, the machine pistol is still not great against bungers, but I think Gina really would like to go with someone other than Hangman. She's really sick and tired of him. So perhaps she's asking Cowboy to come with her, and then Hangman and Elias, they are gonna be here together. So we're gonna take Elias. Yeah. Basically, Cowboy is gonna go with Gina, and Elias is gonna go with Hangman. Hope that nothing messes up again. Perhaps they should go get a boat or something. I mean, if they could make it up to that beached boat and get it down the river, it might be our only good chance of crossing the river. I mean, yeah, to get behind the bunker without going past the road, because from the bunker, it can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 space. It can see to here, but they will have to go here, which may alert the bunker. So perhaps they have to go all the way up back, take that boat, but then Hangman is gonna have another go at those rabbits to see if he can get around them. Yeah, let's send these guys back up all the way through the woods up here into the boat, and let's get this boat in the water. And meanwhile, we're gonna advance toward this building, and Asher, he's just gonna stay put here and wait for the boat to come down so he can join it. That also does tell me that Gina should actually be going with Hangman again, since she has the satchel charge, but no, she refuses to go with Hangman, and she tells Elias to take care when you go with him, because she doesn't trust him, and neither should Elias. But then again, do we even fully trust Elias? We don't know. Anyway, we're closing in. Well, making up the rear here. Okay. So I want Bradley and Dallas to keep cover, and then we're going to send our 2 scouts forward, and they are just going to try to run towards that house and see if they can make it. And this is going to be Gina and Cowboy with a vengeance, madly running across these last 20-30 minutes, 20-30 meters down to that building. Shoot! It's another minefield. Why are we not picking up on this? This is so bad. They both have to make attention checks. Gina, the demolition expert, do you notice there's a minefield under your feet? She does not. How about Cowboy? He does not. So basically, Burns and Dallas, they're kneeling down in cover with their guns. They can see the building over here. It's dark. There's no light coming from it. But they wonder if they just saw a silhouette pass through the window. And then they tell Cowboy and Gina, now run, run. And they get up and they start running. And then the bombs go off. What happens? Gina. Jesus. Gina is flung to the ground, and she has a huge flesh wound torn open in her right thigh. She's flung down, just lying there, wounded, breathing heavily. This mission has gone all Wrong. All wrong. And how about Cowboy? How does he make it? He also hears that click under his feet as he steps on a mine. And luckily, he manages to move his feet quickly, and the mine has like a short delay before it explodes, and he throws himself down to the ground, and all that happens is that he falls prone on the ground. But Gina is lying there, just screaming out in pain, biting into her jacket in order to try to muffle the sound, but the pain is unbearable. We need to get her into safety, but get her on a canoe, get her back. This just seems like mission impossible. We cannot dare go any further there. Hangman and Elias, meanwhile, have made their way back up to the canoe, and they are now going to continue down the river past the rapids. So now Hangman, knowing exactly where that stone is, he's going to keep a good lookout for it. But again, his perception is low. It's only 2. But he sees it. He has seen it before, and this time, without fail, he just swerves the boat outside the rock and continues downstream. They continue sailing, slowly paddling down the river, the boat gliding silently through the night. Imagine that the German command is aware that something is happening. There's been an explosion going off over here. There's been another explosion going off over here. There has been a few gunshots down here on this side of the bridge and also there behind the woods. Something is happening. They still don't know whether it's a German operation, whether it's an infiltration, but I think they're pretty ready with their guns. And in order for us to be successful, we need to somehow try to get behind them. This is the bunker that has been taking out so many of our men these past few months, and we need to find a way to get to it. So right now, we're just going to glide the canoe down here, and then I think Asher is going to join it and try to somehow sneak up behind that bunker. It's a tall order, but maybe he can do it, and maybe we can have suppressive fire from this side. And, I mean, we need to get these guys out of the minefield, but I don't exactly know how at this point. While this boat is gliding down here, Cowboy will have to try to drag Gina out of the minefield. And he can actually do that, but since she's wounded, for every space he drags her, there is a 1 in 10 chance that she ups and dies. So, as carefully as he can, and trying to mind the mines all around them, he just drags Gina, takes his hands and put them under her arms, and just drags her across the ground with that right leg just limp following after, blood spurting in all directions. Does she make it? On a 0, she doesn't. They do make it out of the minefield. That's the only good news for a while, and they're gonna put her here safely in cover, and we're gonna put Burns and Dallas down here. They are waiting for a signal from Asher, who's gonna shoot a flare when they are behind the bunker, and then when they are, they're gonna go forth and try to do suppressive fire to see if that's any help. But there's a lot of steps involved here before we get to that, because we also need to have the canoe down the river. So as you can see, the situation in ambush can get really complex. There is a lot of things to look out for. Right now, I have no sort of strong idea of really how to proceed, because I'm just lacking the weaponry to take out that bunker. But at the same time, I feel that I need to try to find a way to punch a hole through these German lines. If we are successful, it would mean that, our fellow American troops, they can be here in just a few hours' time and take over the town of Trier, which would be an important objective in southwestern Germany. But so far, I'm not seeing it happening. Let's keep on trying. Moving on. Nothing. Yeah, and we've already taken out the sentry here, so we can sail pretty safely, I hope, down here. I mean, so far, at least, it's only the sentry that would have been able to spot us. I'm gonna go this way. So now we're gonna sail the canoe under the bridge. This is the most dangerous part of it because we are almost within sight of that bunker. And if it spots our canoe down there, we're probably just sitting ducks in the water. So let's hope that they don't. Hangman expertly glides the canoe under the bridge together with Elias. They are whispering among each other. Who knows what about? Nothing happens. So they continue down here. So this is the chance for Asher to get out of the building, get into the canoe. If you don't carry any equipment in a canoe, you can be 3 guys in the canoe. But the problem that I'm just realizing is, of course, that if we are 3 guys in the canoe, we cannot carry any satchel charges, and we really need that to blow up that bunker. And right now, we only have 1 satchel charge, which is also really bad planning. The other one is with Gina. She hold on to her machine pistol, actually. So one of the satchel charges is lost out there in no man's land in the minefield. And then we have both Dallas and Burns have a satchel charge. But they have to do the cover fire now. But it does mean that we'll probably have to make a shift here and leave someone behind in that building. And Asher, he knows that Hangman cannot necessarily be trusted, not after what happened up there. And anyway, he's basically holding him to blame for everything that has gone wrong on this mission. So Elias, this young kid, he's just 18 years old. He is being set to hold up here in the rubble in the middle of the night in this outbuilding with just a pistol to fend for himself and just keep that position while Asher and Hangman go further down the river. This is going to be the most anxious couple of minutes or hours that Elias is going to have waiting out there. The boat glides on down. Wait a sec. When it glides here, it'll be within range of the bunker. Let's hope they don't see it. We will have to take our chances. I can't see any other way around this. So Hangman expertly steers the boat down here in 13. Nothing happens. They're not aware. They're probably looking at the tree line from up here in the bunker. Now, again, there is brush here, which means that the boat cannot be seen from the bunker. Hopefully that gives us a little security. But now, unfortunately, something else happens. We'll have to place an event marker, and we have to make a check for awareness, and it's +1, so 7 or less, then Asher notices something, and he does notice something. Hex L17 contains what was once a German bunker. It was destroyed by a direct hit with a 500-pound bomb. Place a crater in the hex. L17. There's a crater in hex L17 down here. Okay, so this may also mean that some of these craters that we're seeing here could actually also be bunkers that have been demolished. We know that this one is a bunker, and I'm going to put a mark on it because I think this is a place of interest. Again, if there's anything left in there that can somehow help us, just a map or something, so we can give coordinates to our bomber planes on where these bunkers are and try to hit them, because right now this is more reconnaissance, I think, than it's actually taking bunkers out. So they spot this thing from the river, and Asher, he calls out to Elias, because Asher, he doesn't let up, and he always, pushes his people to the max. So he calls to Elias and says, "Hey, Elias, want to be a hero? Just go down there to that bunker and find out whatever's left of it." And Elias, he's never been so afraid in his life, but the only thing that he's more afraid of than dying is going against Asher's orders. So what he does is that he jumps out, crawls out of this window of this rubbled building, and then he sneaks along the river together with a boat, while Asher, he's guiding him towards this German bunker that has been blown up by the plane. Yeah, so all these checks here are basically different chances to see that bunker if you missed it before. So they're just moving down here towards it. Now he makes it to the bunker. He crawls out of the crater, and the bunker has it's basically been demolished. It's just pieces of scrap metal lying around. But he crawls over sort of the lower part of a wall that is still standing, and he's rummaging through these all sort of blackened items that is lying inside the bunker. He's rummaging through it, but he calls back to Asher. So there's nothing here. Everything's been incinerated. It's just black dust and powder and flame. There's nothing here. All right. So instead, Asher, he orders him to come down to the river, and then they're going to help him cross the river, and after they put their gear on the other bank, and then he will walk with them around, trying to make somehow a beeline for this bunker coming from behind, because that is really their only chance if they want to take it out. Meanwhile, I think Cowboy is going to try to see if he can drag Gina out towards that bridge, so when the boat hopefully comes back, if they make it down here, that it can pick her up, if there's room, I don't even know, and sail her into safety. We'll have to see. So Cowboy, he is dragging Gina further down, first into there. Does she survive? She does. He drags her here. She's still alive. She is still alive. And then finally he drags her out here to the bank of the river. And she's still alive. He has managed to somehow just very primitively bandage her wound, tied something around her leg to keep the blood from flowing out too fastly. And she's slipping in and out of consciousness. But he is putting her down safely by the side of the river, and he is now watching over her. Elias, he's going to go down here, moving towards the canal. Let's hope there are no more minefields. There is not there. Then the boat is going to come. We're going to do this down here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is as far as the bunker can see, so we can actually cross here. So we just need to get down to here, basically. And then we can beach. First, we can beach the boat here in P18. And again, it's safe. And then what they're going to do is that they're going to put the explosives, Asher's explosives, they're going to just hide them here beneath a tree while they take the boat back across the river and pick up Elias and take Elias back with them. Beach the boat here, pick up the satchel chart again. And now we have a situation that looks like this. We have Asher, and we have Elias, and we have Hangman down here. They do have a satchel charge. Maybe they're one chance at taking out this German bunker, but everything has to just go perfectly. There can be no mishaps. They only have cover fire from this side, and the moment that Burns and Dallas make themselves announced, I think all hell is going to rip loose from that bunker. And we got a severely wounded Gina lying there with Cowboy watching over her. Everything has gone to hell. We have lost our bazooka. We have lost a man, freak, in a minefield up here. Gina, our demolition expert who is supposed to take out the bunkers, have been heavily wounded in another minefield down here, and she's right now lying here and waiting basically for a boat to come back and rescue her, take her back to safety to the American side, because we are operating behind German lines right now. But that really all depends on how this desperate attack on this bunker is going to go. We're going to try to sneak up behind. We have a single set of explosives, so we probably need to get up close, blow open the door to the bunker, and throw the explosives in there. And there's so many steps to this, but let's try it out. Let's see how this goes. And it's also a really odd assembly of characters right now, because there's a lot of friction. We have basically Cowboy sitting there with the wounded Gina. They just want to go back. She's effectively out of the battle. And Burns and Dallas want to abort mission. They know that they cannot realistically blow up this bunker. But Asher, again, hard-headed as he is, he's just pushing on. And he has ordered Burns and Dallas to give them cover fire when they come from behind. And Asher himself, he's traveling with Elias, this very young 18-year-old scout who's never seen combat before, but just 20 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago maybe, he shot and killed a German sentry out there. He is full of adrenaline, cannot contain himself, but he's very inexperienced. And then Hangman, the local guy who was supposed to lead them along all the little secret hidden tracks along the countryside to find the bunkers and help them get in there. And so far, all they have seen him done is basically sink a canoe in rapids, which he should have known how to navigate. Maybe he was nervous taking the Americans into this area, but I don't know. Now Asher is not taking any chances, so he's basically traveling with him. He have him right here, and he's going to put him straight into the line of fire if need be. So here we have them. They have beached the canoe. They have the equipment they need. They need to crouch down and just move slowly through this area. Let's try to see, how can we even go around? Because I see now other problems here. Oh my goodness. When they go down here, Hangman had told them that, yeah, you can easily cross here. We can just climb over these crests here. Oh, but can you climb over? Maybe you can, actually. Let me just see if this is barred or not barred. Okay, well, I just thought that this area was blocked, so we couldn't go around. But we can't. But they have to be climbing up steep cliff sides in order to get anywhere here. So first they're moving down here, O19, Q19, and basically this area might as well be mined. We have already seen that they have mined a lot of this neck of the woods. Luckily nothing here. Moving quickly across open land into safety. And then here, getting into the brush, just laying low. Nothing is happening. Meanwhile, Burns and Dallas are just sitting there on the lookout, waiting for any kind of sound, movement, anything to react on. And Cowboy, he's sitting there holding Gina in his arms while her blood is slowly seeping out through her leg. And he just feels happy that she has lost consciousness, so at least she's not experiencing this, and actually more importantly, she is not crying out in pain, alerting the Germans to their presence. And onwards they go through into dense woods along steep cliffside. Yeah, we have to take the long, long route around here, I think. U19. Nothing. Through the woods. The closest we can get is probably we can get here. Then we can try to charge it around here, something like that. So we have to follow, we have to cross the crest now and then have to follow it down here, down this. This is a sloping landscape. So see it as like a slowly sloping hill going all the way up here. We're moving here in the trees. We're climbing over the crest. It's... okay. I see. It's actually so steep that Hangman, with his limited capability of movement, he cannot cross it here. He needs to cross it into open terrain if he wants to cross it. So they actually have to leave Hangman back here to cross it over this way. And it's Hangman who he's telling the story how, well, you know, when he was young, he had some accident while driving on a motorcycle, and his ankle was broken in a million places, and it has never fully healed. So he doesn't really have the strength to climb up through the wooded area. He'll have to find a place where the cliff is less steep, and this is the only area he can do it. And Asher really has no choice. But he tells Hangman to wait until they can see him, so until they are here. So now we have Asher and Elias have climbed over the hill. They're in the woods. They're moving up closer. Slowly, slowly moving down towards that bunker. Hoping that the Germans have no idea what will be hitting them very soon. They're moving into open territory, but they can still not be seen by the bunker because of this escarpment here. Yeah, I think they say to go over here, and then they're going to ask Hangman to climb over the hill here. So they move in here. So the question is now, have they moved too close to the bunker? Will they be spotted? I don't know. Let's see. Okay, we need to do an activation check, probably to see if the bunker spots them. And we are in condition 2, so a 2 or less, and the bunker will spot them, I think. It doesn't. They pass the test. Then they do a perception check, +2, so that only fails on a 9. They succeed. And let's see what they see. Perhaps they just see the bunker, but let's just double check. They see the bunker, and they are now positioned and ready to engage. I mean, it's a question of timing, right? Who moves out first here? So we want them to get close to the bunker and try to beat down that door so they can throw in the explosives. At the same time, we want Bradley and Dallas to give them cover. We want Hangman to join in because he needs to be there. He's constantly being in the background, and Asher is now sending him the signal that he should climb the crest. But it seems like he's hesitating. Bradley sees that signal from Asher to Hangman, and then he steps forward with Dallas here. And hopefully the bunker doesn't see them. They're in the woods. Yeah, we have to check for bunker activation again. 2 or less. Oof, 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 oof. Oh no, oh no. I think they've been spotted. They go out there to the edge of the woods, and immediately we have the bunker. And we have 2 Germans inside the bunker. They are alerted to the presence. They see Burns and Dallas as silhouettes moving between the trees on the other side of the road. What we can hope for now is that is enough to distract them so that Asher and Elias can get up behind that bunker and throw in that satchel charge. Okay, that's S5. So this is German 65 and 66. Let's find out who the Germans are. We have Trautmann and Sebastian. Sebastian and Trautmann, they are in the bunker. Its door should face T13. Yeah, I was right. The door faces this way. This makes sense. So this is where we want to try to attack it from. We have the advantage, and everyone who can see the space, they are aware. So we have 2 turns this round, but we also go into condition 3. So the stakes have just been raised, and we are now in condition 3 out of 4. This is going to be the great assault. Whether this will succeed, I have no idea, but we do have a pretty strong advantage right now. But if we cannot make good of it, then I think we're toast. But let's see what we can do. So we have Asher, we have Bradley and Dallas, and we have Elias. They're all on 2 turns. Then Cowboy, he's just taking care of Gina. Gina, she is out cold. And Hangman, he can't see anything from there, so he doesn't know anything yet. Then, how do the Germans look? Initiative 1. And let's see. So 2 turns, 1 turn. Yeah, so this is the setup. And Sebastian there, he's the machine gunner. So it's not good news that he has 2 turns this round because he has a machine gun. He needs to be taken out very, very quickly, but he's almost impossible to hit as long as he's inside the bunker. And then we have the assistant machine gunner, which is Trautmann, and yeah, he's not as dangerous, but they can only fire the machine gun effectively if they are firing it together. So you need 2 people basically to operate this machine gun perfectly. And now we have to make a bold move. How do we get that door open? We need to shoot it open, I guess. Yeah, it's not even a guarantee that we hit the door, but that's our best shot. And we still need light penetration result to breach the door. So we could also just move up and try to get that satchel charge in through a window. Well, what we can do, I guess, since it's a window, we can kind of lie flat. So we do actually have a chance, perhaps. We are gonna crawl to this space, 1 space forward, closer to the bunker. And then both of them, Asher and Elias, they're gonna throw themselves flat down onto the ground so they cannot be seen through the bunker window. So they just crawl there and they lie flat on the ground. Then Bradley and Daniels, they're going to open fire. So they could also, they each have a, or Bradley has a, Burns have a grenade. So Burns could throw his grenade and see if he could hit in through one of the windows in the bunkers, which would be amazing. But I think it's going to be tough. +1, it's a range 3. It's a 4, it's a 5, it's a -3, it's a 2. It's a 2 or less. Oh, they're not. Yeah, I don't know if you can throw across an embankment side. You probably can't. No, they'll have to shoot. Okay, so Dallas, the sniper, he aims his gun and he tries to see if he can pick out one of those machine gunners. He just sees that face in that little slot that counts for a window in this bunker, and he aims his gun and he tries to hit. So he needs a 2 or less to hit. But he actually does it. He picks out one of the gunners, he has them on sight, and he squeezes that trigger. Does it jam? It doesn't jam. And the bullet flies and it hits. He's aiming for the machine gunner, Sebastian. He hits him with a 6, which is a fantastic shot, which immediately incapacitates the one machine gunner. Oh my goodness. This is just excellent. So Samuel just immediately takes a bullet and just slumps down next to the machine gun lying on the floor in a state of unconsciousness. And we can take him out of the equation for now anyway. Sebastian is down. What a shot. And this, of course, is exactly why we have Burns trusting in Dallas like that. So instead of taking a pot shot himself, Burns is going to give his turn to Dallas. So he gives Dallas a command to just shoot again. Try to see if you can hit that other guy. And the odds are the same. He needs a 2 or less to hit. Come on. Second. Oh, we need to see if Dallas depletes ammo. He does. So he does deplete an ammo. And then he tries again. He needs a 2 or less again. Close, 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 close. Does he deplete ammo? He does not. Okay. But what a shot. What a shot. So, oh, and he actually has a shot again before the German can react. So a final shot from Dallas. What a setup we have done here, guys. This is us ambushing the Germans. It's usually the other way around, but this time I think we just set up a brilliant ambush. Come on, Dallas, 2 or less. It's a 0. He hits again. Does he jam? He does not jam. So he hits Trautmann. The other gunner is only a 1, which is probably not great, but it's enough to wound him. So he hits Trautmann, who immediately takes a bullet and drops to the ground. He's wounded, and it means that he does lose the rest of his turn, and he falls prone, so we can no longer hit him. But we are right next to this aperture. So let's see. Asher, he can get up. He needs to stand in order to get the satchel charge through the aperture. And to do that, what does he need to throw? He's a Jason, that's a 7. He has weapon skill, that's 8. So basically on everything but a 9, it's basically only if he fumbles. In there, in the bunker, we have one guy lying on the floor unconscious, the other one sitting up against the wall, wounded, holding a hand to his shoulder, blood seeping through his fingers, and then he just looks up defenselessly as Asher tries to light this explosive and put it through the aperture and into the bunker. And he does so. The satchel charge goes into the bunker and it sets off with a terrible roar. And it's as if the whole bunker almost just jumps up from the ground and flips over and lands on its head. That's what it looks like. There is just this cloud of smoke before their eyes, and there's rubble and debris flying in every direction. And when they look up, the bunker is just a tangled, mangled mess with 2 German bodies inside. Guys, we did what we thought we could not do. We just exploded a German bunker with our 1 package of explosives that we were carrying to this mission after some exquisitely shooting from our sniper, Dallas. This here was just perfectly executed. What great men we have today. We have taken out a bunker. There may be more bunkers. We do have some explosives left, but not a lot. So we'll have to find out what exactly it is we're gonna do. And I think one of the things that are happening right now is that Asher is looking back over his shoulder and he's seeing that Hangman hasn't made it across the crest yet. So I think what is happening in this moment is that Hangman is never gonna make it across that crest, because now what he is doing, seeing that he hasn't been able to completely foil the Americans' plans, as he was planted there by the Germans to do, he now sort of makes a beeline for the German side of the border, disappears into the wilderness and off the map. Hangman was a German spy all along. Swordvander says, not so useless after all. And Laura Ray says, a very lucky playthrough indeed. Yeah, we are doing surprisingly well. And even despite having a traitor among us who sunk one of our canoes and was ready to basically send two of his fellow soldiers straight into the maws of death by sending them up alone to that bunker, he managed to, he now has fled off the map. So this is what we're left with, just this disparate little group of people. We still need to get back, and there may still be more German activity in the area, so we are not completely safe. And we also have the problem that we have a boat that's beached down there. So we will probably have to get out by way of the road. I don't think, because I think actually what's happened here is that Hangman doesn't just leave the map. He goes over here and then he just shoots this boat full of holes until it just sits there, just as a broken, shut up canoe. So we have that one is there. And Hangman, he leaves. So there is no other way out than across the bridge and up through the road. This could be really, really dangerous, but we have to see if we can make it back this way. First of all, first things first, let's get into that bunker to see if there's anything in there worth taking with us. It's still a smoking wreck, but let's see. It's all empty in there. Okay, then I think we're gonna scramble down the hill this way. We do not have time to go this long way around. The Germans are surely aware what is happening right now. We need to try to get out fast. So they're just sliding down the cliffside here into R13, hoping that everything is okay and that no one sees them. And since they're in the open, they're going to stand up and they're going to run. At the same time, we'll have Bradley and Dallas just slowly making their way down here by the side of the road, waiting for the others to join up. We still have the problem of Gina. We're not going to make it up to that boat. That one is sunk. That one's in a minefield. No, it's around the minefield, but still. I think we will have to try to carry Gina. She's unconscious right now. There's a good chance she won't make it, but Cowboy is determined to try. But first of all, let's try to secure the way. We have Dallas and Burns sitting there surveying the situation. We first need to get Ashley and Elias a little closer. How much do we dare run out in the open here? Let's go here. We need to do this quick. There is an event. Oh no. Let's see. Let's not rejoice too quickly, guys. But we may make it out alive. But things can still happen. So basically what happens is that as we are running here in Trier, the German town, just right here off the east of the map, they're noticing. Suddenly they've lost contact with the bunker. There's a huge plume of smoke going up from it, and they just raise the alarm. Now it's full alert. We're going into condition 4. It's the final mission condition. So we need to get out of here really fast because Germans may be coming very, very shortly. So run. We're not even going to run by way of cover. We're just going to run. P13. This may be madness, but what can we do? Yeah, there's another event. Oh no. Now it comes. Ooh, and these are events while we are on alert level 4, which is not good. It's an 11. If there were any Germans using some kind of special command, they would stop using them. They would go into full-on attack mode. Luckily, there are no active Germans on the map. Due to, I don't know, I think somehow we ended up doing this pretty well so far, even though we had a lot of stuff against us, but we did manage to really pick out the Germans one by one. So we're just going to make a scramble for it right here. O13, they're covering, just covering fire and just run. This is the moment where Cowboy, he sees that his commander, Asher, is coming down the road, and he is taking Gina. He has splashed some water in her face. He's gotten her back to her feet, and she's leaning on him. She'll not be walking fast, but she will be limping out of the forest with her thigh bandaged. So they're stepping out here into the road, hoping to make it out alive. And then, who do we send across the bridge first? I think we need to send Asher across the bridge first, and then Burns and Dallas will take up the rear. Makes it over in safety. Come on, just run. It's safe so far, it's clear. And they're moving a little bit slowly, but they're making up the rear. So this is the party going out. As they cross the bridge, in the background, up on the sloping hill, just at the outcropping, they see the flames engulfing the bunker and the smoke rising towards the sky. And they can just hear in the distance from the direction of the town of Trier, the sounds of sirens, the sounds of engines starting. They can hear planes taking off. They can see searchlights lighting up the horizons, going back and forth as they scamper desperately down this rope, hoping for freedom. And where is Hangman? Hangman is gone. K11. They are still safe. And Gina is being held along by Cowboy over the bridge and in safety. Move on. Basically, the only way out is to leave by the northern edge. And since we have no canoe, we actually have to go through this terrain. This could be really dangerous, but let's try. Right now, it seems that the road is safe so far, perhaps because the German planes is not fully in the air yet. So I would just think that we're going to run down the road as far as we can and then just make it up north, which would maybe also give us a chance to look at that German tank as we pass it to see if there should be anything in there that needs salvaging. But right now, we're just moving as fast as we can down the road. Yeah, let's get up standing so we can run. Yeah, there's nothing on the road so far. And as they run across here, of course, they pass the corpse of the dead German, Wilhelm, I believe it was, who was sitting there. Oh no, Ludwig, who was standing guard there and who was shot by Elias. So trembling, he runs past the corpse of the first person that he killed, and his adrenaline is rushing through him. He's moving further up. Still nothing. This is the safest, cleanest road. Of course, like, just walk in by the road. Don't sneak through the bushes, you know. That's where the Germans are hiding, where they set up their bunkers. But like the road, no one's watching. No one think that we'd be so stupid to go by road. But we are. And hey, so far we're safe. And we're still. Let's get out of here. Okay, let's hit just here and then just turn north. I mean, I guess the reason that it's blown up is probably because of a minefield. Ugh. But let's hope that, I don't know, whatever mines were there, it probably triggered them. So hopefully it's safe. Yeah, it's safe all the way. So we're going to drag them across here, and then Asher, he jumps off the road, he slides down the cliff right into the bushes below together with Elias. Uh-oh, something's here. He thought he saw something, but it was just the silhouette of the Sherman tank. And now we're going to go past that Sherman tank to see if anything is there. It's just a hollowed out shell of a tank. Whatever bodies were inside have been removed, either by the Germans or by our own, we don't know, and everything has been stripped from the tank. It's just an empty carcass at this point, nothing left in it. So we're going to go this way, and then we're going to try to move via the tree line, and we have Asher in front, and I think actually he's going to go alone in case there are any mines or anything. He is the one who is the most perceptive. He has the highest chance of detecting them, so he's not going to drag Elias into it. He says, Elias, just stay right behind me, and I'll let you know if the way forward is safe. Yeah, so far it's safe. Still safe. Okay, follow along. Gina, again, hanging on to Cowboy's shoulder as they leave the road and feel that they're almost there. We are almost there. Again, it's safe up through the trees in here. Asher taking the lead. Still safe. Oh my goodness, are we making it? We're almost out. Yeah. It's the safe route. So we make it up here, slide down, run away from the chaos and the mayhem with German planes flying across in the air overhead, and with sirens going, motors whirring, cars streaming down the road. Just as we slide down the road, a car comes zooming past from the German side, but we're already in the tree lines, and we're just slowly making our ways back into American territory. And while there may have been more bunkers out there, this one seems to have been the most important, the most dangerous, the strategically placed one that covered this entire area, that has taken so many lives and destroyed so much material in these past few weeks, and have been part of halting the whole American advance towards Germany. Finally, it's blown up, and it means that though there are still pockets of resistance in this area, it will be way easier for the Americans to move in tomorrow, and there will not be such a huge loss of life as there would otherwise have been. And this very much thanks to us, thanks to the team, and not thanks to Hangman, the traitor among us, who was trying to sabotage the mission and basically deliver us into the hands of the Germans. So that was mission 6 in the ambush basic set, pleasure boating to the west wall. And as you can see, if you watch the last ambush stream, this one plays out on a different map. There are 2 base maps in the basic set, and the mission structure is also quite different. So Advanced asked, so we got 1 bunker. Yeah, we got 1 bunker. I mean, we could have gone for more, but it was late in the day. We were at, the threat level was at its highest. We had lost 1 guy in a minefield. Another person, our demolition expert, had been wounded. We had lost our bazooka, and we already had a traitor who sunk one of our canoes. So, yeah, there's basically, it would have been just risking the entire mission, I think, to go on from here. But I still think we made really sort of decent headway, and we made the best that we could out of a really, really bad situation. I mean, this mission came off to the worst possible start with that canoe sinking. I mean, the moment that we had this shifty guy who had basically no skills other than sailing the canoe, Hangman, who I had designated to be the local scout, the moment the boat with him sank, and that was where we had our demolitions expert and most of our demolition equipment, I just knew that he had to be a traitor. And then you can just write that into the story. There were other things. I mean, it could also have been that if Asher and Elias, which had probably been the more realistic scenario, would have just been blown away by that bunker when they stepped out here, as I thought they would. I would probably have had Hangman just defect into that bunker to run in there and basically help them point out the positions of the Americans and try to take them out and have a shootout like that instead. So, I mean, you can do what you want with these things. You can, of course, play it completely strictly and try to just do all the mission points and acquire mission objectives and try to accumulate points. There's a victory point system. I don't care for it really, but it's there if that's your thing. But I like to see what is it that happens when you play a game like this. What are the narrative threats that emerges and how can you pull at them and create some kind of larger picture from it? And I think even scripting in traitors and reluctant soldiers and people who'd rather be home than be at the war, and headstrong, charge first, out of control commanders, all these things can be read into the game, and each of these little tiny cardboard pieces with a line drawing of a soldier, by giving them names, by giving them motivation, you can create narrative from them. You can turn these into real human beings, and you can act out stories that goes way beyond whatever sort of game mechanical objective that you have in the game. And as Swordvander rightly points out in chat, winners don't use victory points. That's the thing. Winners don't use victory points. And I think we just won, and we didn't even count our victory points. I don't even know I don't know how many victory points we got. I don't know how many we were supposed to get, and it doesn't matter because what we got was the story. We have the story of this mission, all the tension behind it, and also remember that this was the moments before sort of the big American advance on this German town. So this was the final encounter. It was crucial. Had our mission failed, for a long time it looked like it would completely fail, that could have meant that the American advance had been halted, or at least that there had been heavy, heavy losses before they could continue into Germany. So even though we are fighting out this tiny little pocket situation, what we're actually seeing is that itself reverberates into a larger story around this scenario. So yes, this is a game that I really enjoy and I really appreciate. It is, every time I play it, I'm just struck with the level of ambition in this game, and I am struck by how much narrative emerges sort of between the cracks of the game, because in many ways it is quite simple. I mean, there's all the nitty-gritties that you find in war games, but it is pretty simple. You just move pieces around the map, and every time they enter a new space, you check if something happens. And that's the flow of the game. And then when you have an encounter with the enemy, then you play out that encounter according to these rules, which, sure, they're convoluted until you understand them. And then when you understand them, it's not too bad. Now, I've been playing, I think, 6 missions of Ambush in the last 2 weeks. So I got it pretty well down now. And now I feel that I can just sit down and play whenever I want to. So it's this thing with complexity in games is, it's a barrier, but it's also something, if you put in the effort and actually learn it. And I would say if you sit down for an evening with Ambush, you can learn how to play Ambush, and you can make your way through the first introductory mission, and that'll probably take you another evening. And then from there, already on your second mission, you will be much more confident in playing the game. And into your third and fourth mission, it'll just be flowing. I think this mission could easily have taken me at least twice as long if I had played it just a week or two ago when I started playing Ambush again after a long break in playing Ambush. And now I feel that it's just rolling. And of course, I have 2 more missions left in the base set. We have 3 expansions for Ambush. So It's not that we're going to turn the hopeless stream into an ambush stream, but you may see more ambush down the road every now and then, because it's a game that I think really underlines how much narrative you can get out of just plain cardboard. It also reminds me of another thing about war games, which is that with war games, I think we often think of them as sort of the quintessential games about winning and losing, because it's war. Someone wins and someone loses. It's the nature of war. But actually, in my experience, war gamers are the least interested in winning of all the different brands of gamers that you find out there. And that is exactly because war games are more simulationists. It is more about the simulation of a historic event. It's more about how it plays out and the different counterfactual scenarios that comes up that changes the course of history. That's where the interests lie. It doesn't really matter. I mean, boiling it down to winning and losing is just too simple for war games somehow. It's a much more granular affair, and it's also an affair that doesn't necessarily need a conclusion. Often when I play with more hardcore war gamers than myself, I'll find that we do not finish the games. We just start playing, and we play for as long as we have, and when we don't have any more time, we'll tear it down, and that'll be it, and that'll be our experience. So we played this game for 6 to 8 hours, and maybe we only make sort of a dent when it comes to how far we progressed in the game, but that's not really the point. The point is the simulation, the narratives that come out of it, and the discussions over the table, and the game itself and the mechanics in the game. They're actually only there to facilitate those experiences. That's all. So somehow counterintuitively, even though war games should be quintessentially about winning and losing, actually they're not. They are about playing, they are about simulating events, they are about immersing yourself in a material and trying to hang on to the stories that emerge and try to follow them through and see what happens. You sit down, you never know what's going to happen. Sitting down and playing this mission today, I had no idea what was going to happen. I had fleshed out these characters and given them a bit of motivation to set up the situation more interestingly, but the moment that first canoe went down in the rapids with Hangman as pilot, I knew that something was up and that I would have to follow through on that. So here you have it in flesh and bone on screen, the magic of games. Right here, how cardboard becomes narrative. So thank you so much, everybody, for watching, for following this playthrough. And if you follow us, you will be sure to be alerted as soon as we have something new in schedule. But for now, I'm just going to say, with a slight twist, I think, of our usual little motto, stop winning, start losing, and play the story.